This is a message from your guides reading for the Andromedan star being. Okay, so I still have this one crystal here, even though this is a separate day since, as I told you in the email I sent, your reading mysteriously vanished off of my computer. Out of just went, I don't know where it went because it wasn't in the recycle bin. Wolf, with all his technical geniusness, couldn't retrieve it either. It was literally nowhere. So I don't know what happened to it. Whenever you delete something, a file goes into your recycle bin. So I don't know. But okay, so I'm going to redo this reading. But this was actually this is my lapis lazuli, but this was actually the crystal that literally everyone had this. Every person in the Patreon group, including you with your, mysteriously deleted reading. So I'm really glad it was only the 10-minute reading. But so here we go. I'm going to surround us in some protective space. Okay, there's a lot of energy at your feet. It's feeling like you're a little bit more established in some ways. Things are a little bit more set, concrete in your mind. I know that you've kind of made up your mind a little while ago, so I don't know if that's just it's manifesting in your energy field now. I don't know if it's just it took a little while or if something changed a little bit for you. I don't exactly know. Sometimes your energy can take a little while to almost catch up, where you have this mental thing, but then it kind of ends up showing in your energy field. Like if something else has been really predominantly there, I might still be feeling that for a bit and it kind of catches up. So it could be that. Or it could be some kind of shift that you experience. So you would be the one to know that. Okay. So I have a guide coming up. Woo, a lot going on with the heart chakra and the throat chakra. Of course, this is a throat chakra stone here, my lapis lazuli. This is also a third eye stone as well, so visions. And then your throat has to do with willpower, creativity, and your guides are also saying strength. So you have like a clear vision, and then you have like the force, almost the strength, the willpower to create it. And this is a very creative center. So you have this knowing and then this almost power to create it, your will to create it, your drive, and then just your creative power as well. And both of these are very intuitive chakras. The throat chakra is also very intuitive for artists and kind of just following your intuition, like what to do, where to go, kind of thing. Like just your guidance system. So not so much like this chakra up here where it's like clairvoyance or specific psychic gifts like that. It's just a general intuition that everybody has. Of course, it can come out in different ways, but we all have that kind of inner knowing that we can feel. Sometimes we can be off about it, definitely, and be presented with almost a false feeling or a false intuition. We can even grab onto that sometimes, but that doesn't make it true. Just because we have an attachment to it, that doesn't make it true. So they want you to see very clearly. They're saying that what you know for sure is this foundation that you have. that you're building upon. And this is something that they've been talking about in a lot of the readings, and this is what you're focusing on primarily. It needs to be what you're focusing on throughout your career, in a sense, as you build up your career. Your focus needs to be on certain things, and understand they're saying that other things are, in a sense, on the side, because they can be distracting. And you don't want them to be distracting from your main goal or your main vision. That doesn't mean don't give them some thought. It doesn't mean put some creative seeds into them, but they're saying that understand that they're seeds. You can write them down. You can write out your vision and everything for them, and maybe come back to them later as their suggestion. Obviously, go ultimately with what you feel. But that's what they're suggesting, is to not get sidetracked, especially now when you're like in the very beginning stages and you need to build this thing up. So you need to really grab onto it, and you need to make sure that this is really your primary vision and focus, and that you spend most of your time doing this, and understand that side projects, it's like they're not even exactly projects yet. They're just almost ideas that you can formulate and write down, and you can, come up with maybe some kind of concrete things about them, about how you could see them, or what you could do with them. But at the same time, it just feels like not now. It doesn't really feel like they're going to really be implemented yet. And the reason is because you don't have a following. That's the reason that your guides are really putting it. It feels like your following is mainly going to come from teaching, speaking. So it's mainly going to come from these videos that you're putting out, that they're not music, they're not, fashion or any kind of creative project or anything like that. Even though that's definitely going to be part of your channel. And they want that to be there. They want that to grow as well. And there's a feeling like that's definitely going to bring people to your channel. And also that would actually bring some people to your channel who may be open to self-improvement and look at some other things. But at the same time, they're mainly there for that reason of the music or whatever other kind of, creative stuff that you put on there. They're going to be mainly there for that, and they're going to sub you for that reason. And you can actually get a lot of people coming to you for that. But still, it feels like your core base for what you're going to be doing, what you're going to be teaching, how you're going to be presenting yourself, it's going to come more from this more self-help. And it feels like, in a sense, you can even title it that, because it feels like the majority of it can reach even people that would be into the music, right? And maybe they're not that spiritual, but they can look at, these teachings and things that you have on there, and they are a little bit spiritual, because obviously you're a very spiritual person, but at the same time, they can kind of go for anyone. The way that you're doing it. And I have noticed a few of your videos, and it does appear that you're doing it in that way. And this is something that your guides had already been kind of saying and directing before you really started the channel, before I even saw any videos or anything like that was there. But this is so it's like this is just kind of what naturally wants to come through you, and what your guides have been influencing this whole time, even before you started the channel. These were already the kinds of ideas that were coming through, is this kind of general type of thing. It feels like you can get a lot of views from that. You're going to get spiritual people, and you're also just going to get kind of self-help people. You could even get people like psychologists, that kind of thing, who they're interested in things like psychology or the way that the mind works, or your mind and your emotions. And then also kind of open to spirituality, or even people who are kind of close to spirituality could end up coming to your channel and they could find something. So this is something that your guides have talked about before. But they're bringing up this analogy. They actually spoke about this quite a bit in the deleted reading. So they're going to talk about it a little here, and then you'll understand the thumbnail that I sent you. But they were talking about how your foundation is like a tree, but it's like the main log, right? Coming down the tree. And then you can have these other branches, but if you don't have that main log built up, if that's not very solid and sound, if it's too small, then you're going to have this branch that can't be supported by the foundation, and it carries too much weight, and it's just going to pull the whole thing over, and it's going to become uprooted, and you'll be distracted and realize you gave so much of your attention to something else being formulated, which it's fine to give some time to. It's fine to let your creativity come out, for you to address that, acknowledge that, write it down, and flow with those ideas in that way. Even research things or look things up, that's fine, but just understand they're saying that it's for the future, for the reason of a following. It doesn't feel like people are going to grab onto your ideas. It feels like they're still being formulated. But the reason it feels like people aren't going to grab onto your ideas, it feels like they will when the time is right. But when the time is right, it has to do with when you have a following. If you have a following, you're going to be picked up. If you have a following, let's say you had that, your guides are saying your channel is kind of general. It's kind of spirituality slash self-help slash other like music and creative projects. So it definitely has like a slant, for sure. Like, what you're doing. It has a focus, but at the same time, it's kind of open to different personality types, different, genres of people and interests. And so you can bring a variety of people, and so that means you could have a large following. So they're throwing out a pretty big number. Even in the first number, the first reading, they threw this number out, but they're saying, let's say that you had like 100,000 subscribers. That would also mean that you had a lot of people that were coming to your website. They were signed up for your newsletter or whatever else you're putting out, whether it's music or whatever, whatever other projects you are going to end up doing by that time, of course. Okay, but your guides are saying that when it comes to self-help, and this is something that hit me really strongly. Like, I was picking up on this earlier today, actually, when I thought about doing your reading. This kind of hit my brain, and they're bringing it up again. And I know this is from them, even though it hit me earlier today. But I feel like, especially with the Patreon readings, since I'm doing them all the time, and it's like I'm so used to those certain guides, it can be kind of easy to pick up on something, even if I'm not just in the middle of a reading sometimes. So sometimes that happens, but it just felt like just kind of this realization, like when it comes to something like information, you you need to have, it's like when it comes to information, you need to have information in a sense. It's like you need to have quantity, right? If I'm coming to somebody's channel and like I watch a self-help video, I'm like, oh, that was interesting, right? As an example. And then I get on and I see, wow, there's like 100 videos and there's different topics here on, self-help. And I don't have to click them all, I can just click on a few or two even, or even the one, but I see that there's a variety of other material here with different topics, and they all have this kind of theme of self-help, and I want to explore that. I want to engage with this kind of self-improvement and listening to those kinds of ideas and teachings and etc. There's this feeling like a person is especially going to subscribe. They're going to hit subscribe when they see, oh, there are numerous videos. There are a number of videos pertaining to this. And so there's kind of this feeling of putting out a number of videos, even if you put out like one every couple of days, or like you had a goal of getting out a certain amount, even if it meant putting out more than one. But only obviously if you're not sacrificing the quality of the video. But I don't know. I feel like that. There's a feeling from your guides almost like you can be a little bit of a perfectionist, but it feels like a little bit can go a long way, and it feels like that's a good thing. Like it can be used it doesn't have to be used in like this controlling way. Like I want everything to be perfect, oh my God. That's like very fear-based, but it can be like just looking at it objectively and approving of it. Like this is good enough to put out in a sense, or this is bad and I shouldn't put it out. But when they're saying good enough, they don't mean it in like a judgment way. They mean like, in my opinion, is this good enough for me to put this out yet? Or should this be tweaked a little bit? Or, am I going to find something that I want to redo after I put this out? Like that's basically what they're saying. But it just feels like you have that already. I don't feel like they really need to say that much. So they are kind of throwing it out there, but at the same time, it feels like that. It doesn't really feel like you're going to sacrifice the quality of the video to make more quantity. So it feels like you're going to get them right. You're going to feel good about the video and put it out. You're going to research it well enough or think about it, or however you come up with these things. It might be a little bit of both, or your personal stories, they're bringing that up again, to be relatable to people. In my life, I've found that this works, kind of thing, or when I was going through this is what helped me, kind of thing. And I feel like there's a feeling like you kind of have that factor going for you. They're saying like your like intelligence or wisdom, the way that you come across, again, in a kind of psychological way, they've spoken about this before, is good. They're saying that's impactful, that needs to continue and even be improved upon, which will happen over time as you just get used to almost formulating your sentences when a camera is in front of your face, because it's definitely very different from just speaking to another person or writing something down, writing an email or texting or something. It can be very different. Talking over the phone, with the other person there and they're hearing you is very different from speaking into a camera when the person isn't exactly there. Like right now with the readings, I'm so used to it, I feel like I'm talking to you. I really do, even though you're like, but you are there. You are there. You're going to see it. Just, all time is happening now. You know what I'm saying? But I realize in this linear way that we're experiencing time, obviously you are going to be perceiving that you watch it later. But still, it feels, in other words, it feels like extremely just natural, and just sit here and say whatever the guides are saying, repeat it all. Obviously it's a little different when you're doing a different kind of video, but even those kinds of videos, when I'm making them, it definitely doesn't feel the same as when I first started. So they're saying that some of this is just going to start coming more, it's going to come naturally as you step into it more, through just time and time again, you're making videos. So again, quantity of videos that you make, you are getting used to it. They're saying you're accepting this role. They're saying that you need to see yourself as this and accept this role and not really let side projects distract you. It doesn't mean that you never do them, or that you shouldn't formulate the ideas like in your mind or in a notebook even, or even research a little bit to help you formulate some ideas if you want to. But it feels like you should only put so much time into that, because it doesn't feel concrete. Like, in other words, it doesn't feel like the foundation. It doesn't feel like that log of the tree. It feels like a branch. And the branches, it feels like they're going to come later on. And they're just saying to make it very clear, it's not even so much your videos and things like that that's the foundation. Yeah, that's part of it. Obviously, that's part of what grows your channel and your business and everything, but they're saying that it's really followers that are the foundation. And they're going to support these other ideas that you have, which are these branches, so to speak. So they're saying if you're this one person and you have this idea and this vision with no backing and no support, then it just becomes this distraction. You can't really get anywhere with it, and it can kind of end up toppling the whole thing over. Whereas if you write the ideas down and hold on to them for much later, with some of the projects, it feels like much later. Some of the projects, obviously, some things that come to you, maybe not so much, but some of the bigger ideas, it feels like you're looking at some time, like probably at least a year. For the reason that, then you'll have more of a following. They're saying, again, that following is really important and that needs to be your focus. It's following that is your focus. So they're saying your voice, your calm and collected expression, your calm and collected thoughts, and that's the way that you present yourself. They're saying that that's the way that you need to come across, and they're saying that you're doing that. They're saying that you're already getting more comfortable with the videos that you're making, and they're saying that this really needs to be the focus. They're saying to buckle down. They're saying to not care about how many subscribers that you have right now, but to really give that your focus. They're saying to also keep up with putting like creative things on the channel. on the one hand, they're kind of saying here and there, but at the same time, they're saying often. So they're not saying like, so they're not exactly saying don't put very many of those videos out. Mostly they're saying not as often as the other types of videos, to have like a lot of those types of videos. So like if you put out like 10 of those videos, then maybe put out one of those is their suggestion, or one of two of those. Because they're just saying that this is really your foundation. Even if a lot of people come to you from the other stuff, that's great. But they're going to stick with you and end up supporting these other projects in the future because of this foundation that you have, where you're talking to people and you're getting your visions out with these collected, composed, calm discussions, basically. And they're saying you can almost think of them as discussions, or they're even saying essays, almost like essays, and you're speaking them out loud. So you're not writing it, but it is almost like a course in a sense. They're like little mini courses or teachings. So they're saying like 3 ways to do this, 4 ways to do that. People click on those videos. People click on a lot of videos like that because people feel like they don't have a lot of time. They want something simple. They want something quick and easy. They want to be able to watch this video with a little bit of time, you know, like less than like 10 minutes or less, right? And feel like I got something out of that video. I can move on through my day, or I can move on to another video. Like, you have to hold people's attention. And now if someone's like really into your stuff, you're gonna hold them for an hour. But especially if you're a newer channel and people don't really know you yet, they're not even necessarily going to click on a video that says an hour, you know, or even like if you're getting up into like, you know, 20 minutes or 15 minutes, or, you know, to like a half hour or something. We have some of those videos, but then we also have, you know, certain people that will definitely watch those videos. They'll watch a 3-hour long video if we put it up there. Obviously, not everybody is going to do that. Most people, I would say, want a quicker video. So they're saying that that's something. Get your thoughts in order and speak, as in speak like confidently, speak collectively. So they're not saying rush. They're not saying like speak really slowly either, but they mean like you don't have to rush. That's not what they're saying, to get these things through in a certain amount of time. But they're saying just have certain points and make it like as quick as possible. Like 10 minutes or less, you have, you know, or even like 5 or 6 minutes. It's this quick video saying, you know, why this is important, or this is good, or 6 reasons to do this or that, or whatever it is, self-help kind of things. So it's like it helps the person in a short amount of time. And then they even feel like they have time to look at another video. But again, they're saying that the amount is very important. That's why it's important to make this your focus and to get a lot of videos out. Because again, if someone watches one video and they feel helped by it and they're thinking of subscribing, and then they go to your channel, they want to see that there's other videos available. And then they click subscribe. Because you have these other ideas there as well. And also they see that you're an active channel. So your guides are saying that it doesn't mean rush, but they're saying that it does mean set certain goals, or even I'm going to have 50 videos up by such and such amount of time could be a goal, or I'm going to make one every 2 days could be a goal. And they're saying that you can include the music videos as well in that amount, or whatever other kind of creative videos that you would want to put in there. They're saying, but again, the focus should be this kind of psychological sort of, philosophical kind of self-help, spirituality kind of thing. They're saying this can be titled spirituality in a sense, but mainly it can really be titled self-help, which is good because you can get more exposure. You can meet a lot of people halfway that wouldn't be so interested in spirituality, and they're saying, that's what an Andromedan does, or has the capability to do, is meet people halfway. Have this kind of, how do I put that? It feels almost like, they're saying agreement, but it almost feels like, you can agree with others, and other people can agree with you, even if they're from different walks of life. So it feels like you can find things that you can agree on. You can find common ground. Even if you've had different walks of life, you can find common ground that you have all tread on, in a sense. So you can make sense to people who aren't so spiritually drawn, in a sense. And you can help them, and you can also help yourself, and you can help your business to grow. But that's what they have to say now for this reading. So I usually say see you next week, but now I'm going to say see you in like 2 days. I'll probably do your next reading like tomorrow. So anyway, I thank you once again for another reading. I truly hope that this benefits you, and thank you for letting me connect to your guides. Again, namaste.